Live.
Probably already
We're
live.
probably live. Hola.
Hola.
Happy Saturday in December.
We pop out the chat so we can see people chatting.
That is very helpful. Otherwise, it's like this big.
Yeah, the font on this is so small.
I know. I guess it's made for very young eyes.
Yeah, those young gamers with their young eyes that they're ruining with all the games.
Hope everyone is doing well today. Hopefully you're staying warm because I know there's lots of chilly places in the world right now. We can't complain though. Weather's pretty decent here.
Yeah, it's pretty nice here in Ecuador, as always.
Yes.
So today we're going to do our normal live video broadcast where we are going to talk about a topic, and we'll be checking with the live chats. If you want to make sure we see your chat, do a super chat by clicking the little $sign beneath the chat box. Try to keep the comments relevant during the live video broadcast. And then we'll be back at the end to do our normal viewer Q&A where you can ask us anything.
Absolutely. But first, I want to say I'm so disappointed Ecuador is out of the World Cup and now the United States is out of the World Cup. And so now, JP and the rest of you, I do not know who to root for.
I don't either. I've lost all interest in the World Cup now.
Yeah, it was a very, very sad day. We watched that game with Senegal, and it was tough. Let me tell you,
that was a tough game.
Yeah, but hey, Ecuador still, you know what? They made it, and they did well overall. So we're proud of our country.
Yes,
our adopted country.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about 12 things that should scare the hell out of you about retirement, whether that's early retirement or you're hoping for early retirement or you're already in retirement. Unlike BTM, not all of us are set up from our public jobs.
Oh, but
our employee pension plans at corporations and government work.
Well, that's awesome for you. Congrats.
Yeah.
And hey, John Turner, thanks for joining us, and muchas gracias.
Thanks, John.
We appreciate it as always.
So we got this. We ready to dive in, Amelia?
Why not?
All right.
Let's start it.
So we got this article, or we read this article on Finance Buzz titled 12 Retirement Statistics That Should Scare You.
Yeah.
And so I'll put a link to the article in the description after we're done with the live stream. So the first one is that women are at a disadvantage.
And this makes sense because women earn less than men in the workplace, which is most frustrating. And on top of that, some women don't work as many years as men because some of them take time off to take care of the kids, or they just work part-time jobs. I know that's what my mother did. And so, therefore they just do not have enough money saved up. This article says they have an average of $57,000 saved for retirement, and their male counterparts have an average of $118,000, which is still scary because that's still not enough, period, whether you're a man or a woman.
No. And also, if you make less, then you pay in less to Social Security. So you end up with a lot less Social Security benefits as well. So it's really scary, especially for women.
Yeah. And that's why we've met women who have come to Ecuador, and they've come to other parts of the world, and they're still working remote jobs because they need to make money. Mm-hmm. And so they've reduced their living expenses by moving abroad, which we are in full support of, in case you did not know already.
Beth says she just retired as of today. Congratulations.
Oh, congrats. Woohoo.
Yeah, it's time to partay.
Yes, that is a big celebration for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Number 2 on this list of stats that should scare you is that employees are only guessing. Most people have no idea how much they really need for retirement or how much they should save. So it's a big guessing game.
Yeah, and that makes sense because none of us have a crystal ball, so we don't know exactly what's going to happen to us in our retirement. But I mean, when you stop and think about it, I guess it is a little bit scary.
Yeah, and also the cost of living is unpredictable. And I mean, who would have thought we would have had 8-9% inflation in the U.S. when really it was more like 50% if you include cost of fuel and food, which the inflation index does not include. When you include those, it was a lot higher than 8 or 9%. Thanks, Ted.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for joining us, Wendy and Ted. Hope you guys are doing well. I know it doesn't say Wendy there. I'm assuming Wendy
and Ted. Wendy's in there too.
Yes. Yeah. And it's hard because how can you possibly experience or plan on every edge case scenario? Nobody knows. We can't.
Yeah.
I wish we could.
Yeah.
Although then I might be even more afraid. Sorry.
Yeah. BTM says it's a shame private pensions have largely disappeared. I know my generation, Gen X, we never had those. They went away in the 80s. And especially if you work for yourself, you don't have a pension either. And I've been self-employed almost my whole adult career, about over two thirds of it. So there's no pension there either. And when I did have jobs, I worked at small companies that often didn't have very good benefits at all.
Yeah.
And Amelia's the same way. Her company doesn't have a retirement plan at all. No 401k, no nothing.
Nope.
So
just up to me.
JP giving your beer, are you becoming Amish? It is white. It's got like white racing stripes.
I know. We're trying to coordinate.
Yeah. Number 3 on this list is baby boomers are busted.
Yeah. So it says that 47% of baby boomers have retired, but
only 11% of the boomers said they have saved at least $500,000. So I read that the median retirement savings in the U.S. is just over $200,000. That means half the people retirement age in the U.S. have less than $200,000 in their retirement fund. I mean, there's the rule of thumb kind of is that you should be able to take out 4% a year from your retirement fund. 200,000, 4% of 200,000 is, top of my head, 10, 20, $8,000. That is not enough to live on. $8,000 a year. And then plus you tack on Social Security. And, if you didn't make that much during your life, Social Security may only pay $1,000 or $2,000. So healthcare alone, the Medicare tie-ins, Medicare prescription costs, all of the Medicare expenses could eat away at almost all of that.
Yes. So just checking in.
Yeah, John said 2%. I read, 1.9% is what they're, the 4% rule has been around since the 90s, but some new economist team crunched the numbers for a longer period of time and used more than just the United States economy, and they came up with a 1.9%. There's some debate about whether that's accurate, but I would say it's probably closer to accurate, especially with inflation as high as it's been.
Yes. And number 4 on the list is that healthcare costs are high. And we've talked about healthcare a lot. Healthcare in the United States is quite expensive compared to other parts of the world. And also, according to this article and what we know is that some American retirees think that Medicare is going to cover all their costs. And it unfortunately is not the case. It does not work that way. So you still will have some costs that you incur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was talking to my mom about how much they pay for they call it a tie-in. I'm not sure if that's the same in all states there in Kansas. So they have the Medicare tie-in. And they said that that's a lot, like hundreds of dollars a month just for that. Then they have their out-of-pocket costs, and some things aren't covered. Some things they have to pay like a 10 or 20% copay. And then also if it's not covered by Medicare, then the tie-in insurance doesn't cover it either. So that comes out of pocket. And there's like a whole thing they have to go through to get things approved by Medicare. And they don't always approve everything. So there's a lot of hidden costs with Medicare that people aren't aware of. And also Medicare does not provide long-term coverage. So there's no long-care coverage with Medicare, like for nursing homes or, any type like Alzheimer's or long-term care requirements. Medicare does not cover you for that.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. And also Medicare doesn't kick in until you're 65. So if you're planning on retiring early, you're going to have to still cover yourself medically, period. You're going to have to provide your own health insurance.
Yeah, for 3 years. So the average retirement age is still 62. So for 3 years, a lot of retirees are having to foot the bill for their own insurance costs. And as we know firsthand, that is not cheap if you go for your own plan. And COBRA is ridiculously expensive. The marketplace plans are really expensive. So that's a real stressor.
Yes.
For people to know that they have to cover their health care for 3 years.
Yes.
Before they even are qualified for Medicare. That was number 5.
Yes.
Number 6 is investing for retirement is daunting.
That is true. It could feel like a little bit hopeless, especially if you're starting late in life.
Go ahead.
Okay.
What does it say? I didn't read this
It
one.
says that and some people don't know what to do. So you could add money to your 401k, which is a straightforward approach. But then what else do you do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, given the stock market the way it is, we're taught to traditionally invest in the stocks, but as we all know, it's a roller coaster and it goes up and down. And yeah, you can have analysis paralysis.
Yeah, there's so many different things to choose from. And plus, they used to recommend the 40-60 split, or based on your age, you put different amounts in stocks and bonds. Well, this year, the bond market is down too. The bond market's horrible. So pretty much your entire portfolio is down if you were invested in stocks and bonds. So it is, especially as you get older, you're already in retirement. You don't have time to make that money back. Because generally the stock market's on like a 10-year cycle, sometimes longer, sometimes less, but most people don't have 10 years if they're 70 years old and retired to wait around for their stocks to come back.
Yep, I know, it's crazy. The other thing, number 7 on this list, is that you might need more than $1 million to retire. And I guess that depends on where you want to retire. Some places are expensive, but that's why, again, we encourage you to move to a lower cost of living country, or even a lower cost of living state, because they're talking about people who want to retire on the beach in California. Well, that could be really expensive, but there are more affordable options in the US.
Yeah. There's some nice beaches in Kansas.
Smart
They're just, well, there are actually big lakes, big reservoirs in Kansas with nice beaches, but they're frozen for about 7 months out of the year.
Yeah, that does not sound like a beach retiree dream to me.
No. But you can live on a beach much cheaper in a lot of other countries.
Yes, you can.
Or in the mountains like we do. Number 8, retirees may still have jobs.
Yes. And this, I think, is becoming much more mainstream, that people are not ready to retire for a variety of reasons, whether they don't have enough money, or they're worried about not having anything to do, or they want to start, take their hobby and make some money off of it and reinvent themselves. This, I think, may be scary to some people, but personally, I think it's kind of a good thing. So this says a survey found that 64% of workers said they expect to continue working after retirement. So again, I guess that depends on your personal preference, if you want to be completely retired and not working or not, but you can even volunteer if you're not concerned about the financial aspects of it. However, for us, we're all about the fact that we've said this multiple times, that we need to be saving for our retirement. So we like to do a little bit of volunteering, but we also have to focus on still earning income. Yes. And I don't ever see myself not working at doing something, because it's really good for your mental health too. Gets us out there experiencing new things, learning new skills. I think it's really important.
Which brings us a nice segue into our online income e-course, where we have a 50% pre-order discount. It is almost done. We're recording the final videos now, and we will have it ready for launch for your New Year's resolutions on January 2nd. So I just shared a link to more information about that, so you can sign up and pre-order and get that nice 50% discount.
Yes, discounts are always a beautiful thing.
Yeah, we both work online. We've both worked online or worked remotely for a company for most of our careers. So we're going to share all of the secrets that we've learned over the years to how to basically earn income online, so you can have freedom of location and time, work wherever you want at whatever time you want.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is. It is. We're very lucky. Okay, so
Reese, it's not available yet. It won't be available till January 2nd. It's just pre-order. It's just a pre-order right now.
Yeah.
So you've got some time. Enjoy your holiday season, and then be ready on January 2nd.
get to work.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. We're gonna crack that whip on you. Okay, back to our list. Social Security may not be much, it says, or enough. For a lot of people, I think that Social Security is not going to be enough to cover their bills, unfortunately, because the average monthly check is less than $1,600 a month. So depending on where you live, that may or may not cut it.
Yeah, it's plenty to live in Ecuador, especially as a single person on $1,600 a month. You can live really well here. When we first moved here, the first year we lived on about $1,500 a month. And then after that, it was about $1,800 a month. So, I mean, as a couple. So if you have, $1,600 as a single, and then maybe another Social Security from a spouse or other pension income, you can live very comfortably in other countries, but in the US, that won't even cover your housing costs in most states now.
Yep.
It's really terrifying, let alone all of the healthcare costs and prescription drug costs that you're going to rack up.
Exactly. Yeah. So number 10 is workers haven't saved much. I feel like that is a bit redundant, but that's what they have in here. Basically figuring out how you, as a current worker, how you can continue to increase your retirement savings.
Yeah, it says 30% of Americans between 55 and 67 have less than 10,000 in retirement savings. 30%, that's a third, have less than 10,000. And that's like approaching or already in retirement age. And Social Security was never meant to be your sole source of income in retirement. It was meant to be like a safety net. But a lot of people, because of high taxes and living costs, have not saved enough. So they're relying almost entirely on Social Security.
So John, I see you said 1,500 buys you a 1-bedroom apartment here in North Denver. Yeah, when we lived there, our 1-bedroom apartment was 1,800 a month. 18.
And it wasn't that nice.
No, it wasn't. It was okay. It did have a dishwasher.
I do miss the dishwasher.
Yes. But anyway, we digress. Okay.
Yes.
Number 11 is that bankruptcy is increasing. And this is scary. So this says since 1991, the rate at which people 65 and older file for bankruptcy has tripled.
Yeah, so people in their tercera edad, which is highly respected here in Ecuador and Latin America in general, that in the United States, they're pretty much left to their own devices. And a lot of them are declaring bankruptcy because of mostly because of healthcare costs.
Yeah, that's just terrible.
Yeah, that's 3 times what it was in 1991. That's ridiculous.
Yep.
To think, I mean, I can't even, that's why we left. I mean, that was one of the main reasons we left the United States, is because I didn't want to start over in my 40s. Now I'm in my 50s. If I had to have another expensive medical treatment, we would have been bankrupt. And the thought of going bankrupt in our late 40s or 50s was so stressful that I wanted to leave. I couldn't get out fast enough because I was afraid something would happen and we would be bankrupt. So I felt like the clock was ticking until we could get out of there and move someplace that had affordable health care. So it was a huge relief for me just to leave.
Absolutely.
Amelia.
I agree with you. Plus, I mean, it changed our life for the better. It sucked that you went through that and we had to go through it. But now that we're on the flip side, I'm very grateful that we had that spark and that we were like, okay, well, we have to do something. We have to make a change. And I think a lot of people are in the same type of situation, unfortunately.
Yep.
All right. So number 12 is that mortgages are a part of retirement. So I don't guess. People think that you don't have to worry about your mortgage or any sort of housing costs in retirement, or maybe they just don't factor this in. But, you still have to pay your property taxes. Even if your house is completely paid for, there's always expenses that are part of owning a home. And if you don't own your home outright, you have to continue to pay the rent or the mortgage. And that could be expensive.
Yeah, so it's 44% of retirees still have a mortgage. So that's really expensive if you only get $1,600 from Social Security and you only have $10,000 saved. I mean, unfortunately, it's not possible. It's too expensive, which is another reason why so many people are leaving the United States and other high cost of living countries, because they just can't afford to retire in those countries. But I don't know. Retirement is such a different concept now than it used to be. It used to be you work for the same company your whole life or the government. And then when you hit 62 or 65, you retire and I don't know what. Our parents watched television. So if you retire and watch television, play golf. My grandpa played golf almost every day. And it's just not like that anymore. Most people in Generation X, which we're in, although some people call us boomers in our comments, Amelia.
Well, they would be wrong.
Yeah, we are Gen X, both of us, right in the middle of Gen X. And what was I saying?
I don't know.
We most of us have no plans of ever retiring. Most Gen X and younger assume that we will be working the rest of our lives, but that's not really a bad thing because it keeps your mind active and your body active and gives you a reason to get out of bed in the morning. The important thing is to do something that you actually enjoy doing. Because if you have to continue working a job you hate just to have health insurance and be able to afford your cost of living, then that's not as much fun. But when you do something you love every day and it gives you a reason to get out of bed, then that's worth it.
Absolutely.
That was point number 12. So that was the 12 statistics that should scare the hell out of you. And I know they do us.
Yeah.
We think about that a lot, being in our early 50s and not having enough saved for retirement is scary.
It is. But then we just remember that, well, we've completely changed our lives. And as you pointed out, retirement isn't the same as it used to be. And we don't ever intend on retiring completely, because there's always something that we could be doing, which is actually kind of exciting, I think.
It is. I know. Who knows?
I know. Well, I never thought in a million years we'd be doing live streams on YouTube.
Yeah. I know that is a bit shocking.
Yeah. Especially when I was starting my career, because there was no YouTube. This live streaming was not a thing way back in the day, JP.
No, I think that was just called telephone.
Yes. A landline.
Actually, we had, what do they call those, party lines? That's what it was.
Yeah.
Where I grew up, we had party lines out in the country in Kansas where you had to wait for your neighbor to hang up before you could make a phone call. And if you had an emergency, you had to pick it up and say, could you guys hang up? I need to call the emergency.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
That's the original live streaming party lines.
The original live streaming.
Some of the neighbors' conversations were very entertaining.
I never heard any of my neighbors' conversations.
Better than television.
Okay.
Yeah, is it true you two met through a party line?
That's hilarious.
Thankfully, they were gone by the 80s. We had dedicated phone lines by the 80s, and where I grew up.
Well, we weren't working yet then either. But it is fun to reminisce, and funny.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for our live video broadcast. What do you guys think? Are you guys worried about retirement? Here, I should do a poll.
Let's do a poll, JP. We often forget to do that.
I know, start a poll. Keep talking, Amelia, while I type this out.
Well, I'm wondering what you're going to ask. Are you worried about retirement? Yes or no? I think it's natural, no matter what, to worry about things a little bit, because it's a massive life change, regardless of what you're planning to do. Whether you're planning on staying at home, working, not working, moving to another country, there's always concerns, fears.
Oh, there's John says, when people visit Ecuador, they should consider picking up a bank account and CD. JET pays 8% on federally insured accounts, and non-residents can set these up. I know that is super nice. John,
that is an excellent point. Thank you for bringing that up, because we don't think to mention that.
They are insured up to $32,000. So I'm not sure I would put a bunch in there, and you have to have a cedula to open a bank account, but you can open a co-op account as a non-resident
with your passport,
with your passport, and get that 8% interest on 32. You can put in more than 32,000 if you're comfortable with the risk. But you can, once you get your visa and your cedula, you can open a bank account and also get higher interest, although the banks only pay like 4.5% interest, and that would be insured up to 32,000 based on our understanding.
Yes. But we've had a JEP account. We've been really happy with it. And you can take the dividends or the interest that you earn out monthly as part of your monthly income here in Ecuador, which is really nice. You can't do that in the States, though.
Can't do what?
Take the money out from your JEP account. I guess you could, and you have to withdraw it from an ATM. So could you? I don't know.
I don't know.
Now that I said that out loud, I'm not 100%. So that's something I will have to check on. So stay tuned.
Jim says, being a Canadian, can I open an account without being in Ecuador? Yeah, I think you have to get a power of attorney to open the account, but there are attorneys, lawyers in Ecuador that can help you with that.
Correct. Yeah. Actually, Maité just confirmed that with us the other day.
Yeah, Maite's lawyers can do that. Mm-hmm. She has attorneys who work for her. The exit tax right now is 4.25%, 4.25%. It has gone down from the 5%, and it's supposed to go down 4% to 4% in January. We'll see if that happens.
Well, I see Debbie Johnston says she's moving to Ajijic in Mexico, but that's super exciting. Congrats. It is so pretty there. It all started with dental tourism. Yeah, it's amazing how different that is. So 25,000 compared to 3,000 in Mexico. It's hard to beat that.
Yeah, he was really pretty.
Yeah, we really liked
it there. Jinx. Yeah, John says you don't need a power of attorney if you're in town. Good reason to visit.
Absolutely. We got a lot of good tips today. I like it.
Bill retired at 70 and moved to Costa Rica the same year. Awesome.
Cool.
I always find it so like amazing and inspiring when people who are 70 and older, we know people even in their 80s who have moved abroad to Ecuador and other countries. And yeah, I'm so impressed by that because it's a big commitment to basically pick up late in life and move, but it's just, it also keeps you young, I think.
It sure does. I absolutely love that sense of adventure. Good for you.
Thank you, Brian. Muchas gracias,
Brian. Thank you.
Yeah, I can go to our gimbal fund.
Oh, yeah.
If you guys watched our video from Thursday.
Yep.
Yeah. So thank you. I really appreciate that. Does my daughter have to come to Ecuador to open a JEP account, or should I open it for her with my cedula? It would be in your name if you open it in your cedula.
Yeah.
Cedula.
So I guess that's up to you. I mean, you could give her access to it, I suppose, if you wanted to.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it would be, yeah. I guess if she trusts you to have the money, her money in your name. Yeah. Most boomers don't have pensions.
Yeah. My dad did retire with a pension, and he was one of the last.
Yeah.
That I know of.
My dad got one too.
Yeah. And that's made a huge difference. And because he has a lot of health issues, it's helped him immensely.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Rick.
Muchas gracias, Rick.
Hello from Phoenix, getting fast track next year. Awesome.
Awesome. Very cool. How's our poll doing, JP?
We are at 50%, 56% say yes, they are worried about retirement.
Well, that's actually not that bad. So I'm happy to hear that a lot of you are feeling pretty prepared.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Although our audience may be a little biased on that because they're considering moving abroad. It does relieve your stress to know that your cost of living will be a third and that your healthcare will be like 1/10 of what it costs in the United States.
Very, very true.
It's a huge stress relief to have that weight lifted off of you. I know that I feel that way because I know if anything happens here, we would just be able to afford it. If it's really expensive, the hospitals will work out payment plans with you, but we're really happy.
So I'm going to digress a minute and say, I love the fact that there is a little conversation going on about Manitou Springs and the incline in Colorado. I never actually did the incline. We hiked all over the place, and I've been to Manitou. It's gorgeous, but it's such a small world, you guys. It's just such a small world.
I looked up the stairs and I said, nope, not doing that. We did the grouse grind.
We did in Vancouver. That was fun.
I just remember not breathing. Like that was really hard to breathe.
Which is funny considering that was
sea level.
I know, compared to, I guess you had the opposite issue with the elevation.
But those were steep stairs.
They were steep stairs. Yeah.
Wow, we moved here at ages 82 and 89 and we'll stay here permanently. Awesome.
Oh, love it. That is awesome. Wow. Very, very, very cool. I'm super impressed.
Yeah. Being single cuts all income in half, making retirement scary. It does. Definitely.
Yeah, there's definitely, I don't know. I mean, life always has its little bits of turmoil and scary factors anyway. So it sucks when you have to think so much about money, but that's the world we live in.
Actually, John, I used to walk the steps at Red Rocks and do the stands where it's more like a lunge workout where you step up the stands. I did that a few times.
So Aaron, we can go back to the USA with travel insurance. So the private health insurance we have here in Ecuador covers us when we're traveling abroad. We just have to get a travel certificate or a voucher letting them know we're leaving the country and where we're going, and then we'll be covered. And how much is it?
It's covered up to $40,000.
Okay, that's what I thought.
In travel healthcare expenses.
Right.
So hopefully we never need that because that would cover the cost of a hangnail in the United States.
I was thinking a stub toe.
Stub toe. Let's see. Do you guys consider Iceland? Where was that question? Any thoughts on retiring in Iceland? Thinking of retiring there. That looks so beautiful. I don't know. We don't know much about their
I
visa
don't
laws.
know anything about it, so I'm really curious why you're considering that. So please type in your comments and let us know. It does look really beautiful.
How long did it take for your pre-existing to be covered? 2 years.
Yes.
2 years on the private plan before the pre-existing was covered. If you go with the public IESS plan here in Ecuador, you're covered after 3 months.
So Dan asked if we're worried about the live volcano in the backyard. Well, it's not as scary as the one erupting in Hawaii right now. They said, I just saw it on the news this morning, they're calling Cotopaxi a low eruption, and the Songhai just had some sort of, I guess it was an eruption, but it was just like vapors. However, you could feel the vibration from that eruption for like 175 kilometers or something like that. And there was definitely ash in the air. So
there was lava.
There was lava?
Yeah, I saw pictures of the Songhai volcano, and they felt it in Guayaquil, which is over 100 miles away.
I did not know there was lava.
Yeah, I saw pictures of it. There was lava. And Cotopaxi is just spewing gases, vapors, but they're going 1,000 feet above the crater. So
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It's not something we're afraid of because, to be honest, I mean, there's nothing we could do about it.
And we don't live near a volcano.
No.
So, or at least not one of the active ones. We actually live near an extinct one, but Ecuador has like 100 extinct volcanoes.
Yeah.
So, or inactive.
I guess I'd be more concerned about another massive earthquake.
Yeah, the earthquakes are more concerning.
That's a whole nother topic. Scary natural disasters that could happen. I don't want to even think about that.
Yeah. BTM says half an hour. How's the back, JP? I'm wearing my back brace today.
Feel better?
Yeah, the back brace does help when I sit. If I have to sit for a long time.
Wow. So Andy said that his wife had an echocardiogram done to her abdomen for $24. Jeez. And visit to a specialist physician for $15. I know, isn't that amazing? It is so affordable and it's good. It's good stuff. You know, they've got the latest equipment here, educated doctors.
Yeah, I know. We finally got all of our insurance claim reimbursements and everything was fine. We got back everything we expected to get back. So that live stream we had several weeks ago or a month ago about our healthcare experience here, it was all of that. I created a blog post about that too. That goes into all of the details over on liveabroadnow.com. And we got all the reimbursements done. We were so happy with the quality of care.
Yeah, it was pretty painless. Well, not the colonoscopy, the paperwork part, not the physical part.
The prep, the fasting.
Yes.
The laying still for 45 minutes in an MRI. That was not fun either.
No, definitely not. Do people have volcano fiestas?
They party for pretty much everything else, but not that we know of.
Right now, the big parties are for the Quito Foundation Days. That's officially December 6th, but this party started on Friday.
Yeah.
Lots of holidays in Ecuador.
Yeah, we did not experience a lot of parties for the World Cup loss, though. We thought that they might get drunk and party anyway, and there was a little bit, but not a lot.
No, it was pretty quiet. Go ahead, JP.
You go.
I was just gonna say, Barbara, you're right. They're natural disasters. You just can't avoid nature. Things happen everywhere in the world.
Let's see. I'm 74, live in Minnesota. Get my $1,200 a month on SS, make house payments, heating assistance. I'm single, don't really do things but grow a garden. Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it's too hot in Florida.
Yeah. Well, but Minnesota, you got those brutal winters.
Oh, thanks, BTM. We try to provide helpful information.
Yes, we try.
So our poll is at 53% now.
Okay.
That are worried. So that is really good, though, because I think our audience tends to be less worried because they're actually taking matters into their own hands and making plans to not be in trouble in retirement. That's what we're doing. I feel if I was still in the U.S. right now, I would be worried.
Yeah, it would be hard not to be worried.
Yeah.
We would be living our lives so differently, though.
I would say though, even here, I'm still worried, but about retirement specifically, but a lot less than I was in the US.
I guess I'm not really, I mean, I want to save as much as we can, but it's not something I really worry about because, again, I know that we have other options available. I'm not stuck working a salary position where I am limited in how much I can save each month, or I have to, we have to like penny pinch everything. It's hard to live like that.
Yeah. Any further details about income requirement for retirement visas moving to a fixed 800? We do not have any new news on that. It's a rumor at this point. We're hopeful.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because they just announced that they are going to raise the minimum wage to $425.
$450.
Oh, $450. Yeah, you're right. It's $425 right now. $450 starting in January. So it's going to be interesting to see what they end up doing with the income requirements, because technically that means that the income requirement should go up. But again, then we heard this rumor that they're going to lower it, and maybe because they had a lot less people applying for visas.
Yep.
And they had lost people too. There was a lot of people that were really upset by that, and it's completely understandable.
Yep. Any news about PAR or shutdowns related to the debt cancellation? No more news on that either. Well, I just sent the new. What day is today?
Today's Saturday.
Yeah, I just sent that newsletter out yesterday. So the news was from yesterday in the newsletter. Yeah, I should probably put that.
Yeah.
We send out a newsletter every Friday with expat relevant news from Ecuador and abroad.
That's weird. We normally don't do these on Saturday, but there's a lot of football tomorrow.
Yeah, so if you guys want to stay up to date on what's happening, we talk about other things in our newsletter that we generally don't cover in our videos. Plus, it's free.
Yes, it is.
But it allows us to post things in a more timely manner, and rather than, because our video schedule, a lot of people think when we post a video, it's like we did it that day and posted it that evening. We actually used to do that when we first started, but now our videos, because of the production time and travel and scheduling, most of our videos are recorded 2 to 3 weeks before we post them.
Yes.
Sometimes longer.
Yes. I love that we have yet another person joining us from Colorado. Colorado is in the house.
Yeah.
Jay Garcia, muchas gracias.
Let's see what else we have going on here. Am I missing any questions?
Hold on. Rick asked what Ecuador town or community has close to town mountain trails. I would have to say Loja and Vilcabamba for that. When we were in Loja, we stumbled onto this incredible trail that was, 10 minutes from our Airbnb?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Pucará.
Yes.
Pucará. Yeah, that was a beautiful trail. It went up to that castle up on the hill. And then in Vilca, you have the Mandango.
Yeah.
Mandango is a trail that is right outside, right on the south or west side of Vilca. And it goes up to that mountain peak. It's beautiful. We haven't hiked that yet.
Mm-mm. No. And then Cuenca, you have all the linear trails. So it's not, it's flat.
Although you have cajas.
You do have cajas, so you could go, but you can't walk to the cajas.
No.
You could do the stairs in Turi, but those are paved stairs.
Cotacachi is also good, but you probably need a car. You can take a cab and then arrange for them to come back and get you later. That's what we did. But we have, what is it called? Quicocha.
Yes.
And then Imbabura has a really cool hike we've heard about, but I think you access the trailhead from Ibarra, right?
I'm not sure.
I think you go to Ibarra to get the trailhead. And then you can hike up Imbabura, the volcano.
Yeah, we haven't been there yet either.
Yeah, Riobamba, Ambato, Ibarra, La Tacunga. Yeah, those are all great places.
Thank you, Oswaldo.
How far are you from the coast? My wife and I love your videos.
Oh, thank you.
We're a 40-minute flight from the coast.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about Ecuador is that if you can go by plane, it's actually, everything's pretty close because it's really small compared to Mexico, which, you look at the map and my gosh, that country is huge. We were looking at when we were planning our trip, like, well, can we go here? Can we go there? And it just takes a lot longer.
Yeah, and some of the states in Mexico are bigger than Ecuador.
I know.
It's amazing how big Mexico is compared to Ecuador. Roy, did somebody score a goal and who? You can't just say goal and not tell us who scored what.
Yeah, details. It's very exciting.
John said they went to Cajas twice on their last trip. Quicocha was awesome. Yeah, that's a beautiful hike around there. I'd like to go up there and do the full loop sometime and go all the way around.
That's like a full day though, JP. I think that takes 7 or 8 hours.
We can do it.
You're
we
right.
used to do that in Denver.
I know, we used to do that a lot.
Have you been to Galapagos? Not yet. It's on the list. Hopefully this year, maybe, or next year. I mean, I've lost track of what time it is.
Well, we're still in 2022, so not this year.
I know, that's what I said. I've lost track of time. Yes. Be next year. Can you use Binance in Ecuador? Crypto is not a big thing here. It's technically illegal, but some people do use it. But we don't know much about using crypto here.
No, we do not.
Urban Art says, my wife's main concern is all related to healthcare. Is that the concern about living in the US or moving to Ecuador? Because you should check out one of our previous live streams. We went into a lot of detail about the quality and cost of care here. We also have a blog post on Live Abroad Now about healthcare. How much is health insurance in Ecuador again? It depends on your age and whether you smoke or not. So you really need to get a quote. We pay $194 for the both of us, but we're in our low 50s.
Yeah, it definitely goes up in price as you get older.
Yeah.
But for the public insurance, it's around $83 a month per person.
Keys to contentment. Have good advice. Our big issue is family. We have 8 kids and several are getting married. Moving away from family would be tough. Yes, it would.
Yes, we feel you, John. We know that's a big concern for a lot of people. It's not easy. And I know it's not the same doing Zoom calls or live streams or whatever you want to call it. It's not the same as being there in person, unfortunately.
Yep. Somebody said buy a house for everybody in Ecuador.
That would be doable. You can get a lot of house here for not as much money, although you can't do a mortgage. Well, you can, I think, if you want to pay an insane amount of interest.
Well, but we've talked about this. You really can't qualify because you don't have credit history.
Right, exactly.
Thank you, Linda.
Muchas gracias, Linda.
What is your most comprehensive and current visa video? Sadly, I don't think I qualify because neither my retirement check nor SS check reached $1275. Do you have a university degree from a university where you went to class in person? That might work for you.
Yes, the income requirement for that is only $425. What other, I can't remember now.
We actually have a visa video, an interview with Maité that we're going to post, I think, tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. That will be our most recent one. We did talk about visas in our last live stream, but Maité is the expert and she goes into a lot more detail than we did.
Yes.
So that's check on Live Abroad Now, the YouTube channel, for that tomorrow.
And stay tuned because I don't know if you caught the conversation we were having earlier. Ecuador often changes the rules and they have been known to raise the income requirement and then lower it back down. And it's possible they will lower it again.
Linda,
they may not, but
she has a university degree and went in person. So I would recommend looking at the professional visa. The income requirement for that is only $425 a month. And they do not verify source of funds. You just have to prove your income based on bank statements.
Yeah, there's other things you have to do. You have to get your university degree. You have to have an apostille with that and a bunch of other stuff. But it's a good one to get because once you get your degree certified, it's registered in the country and you don't have to mess around with with that particular document again if you want to apply for a permanent visa. You still have to do your background checks and all that stuff, assuming you leave the country. Which you don't have to do.
Yep. Yeah, that one's a really good one. That's what I have. I have a professional visa. Amelia has the dependent visa. That one I think is the best one because you can get the diploma registered like a year or 2 years before. Yep. And once it's registered, you never have to do that again. So when you go from temporary to permanent, your degree is already registered. You don't have to go through the process again. And it's also the lowest income requirement. I think it's awesome. I think it's the best visa. Let's see.
Joe Fanny said that they pay $125 for health insurance a month for the two of us. That's great.
Oh, through Vida Buena.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. That's really helpful for other people to know.
Yeah, and brings up another good point. The cost depends on the deductible. They do have high deductible plans here in Ecuador, and then you can do like a gap coverage to cover the stuff up to the deductible. So they have a whole bunch of different options. We have like a more traditional insurance plan where we have $100 deductible per year with a $15 copay. So it's more of like a traditional insurance, but you can do, there's a bunch of different options that you can do.
JP, did you see that comment? Where is it? Eyes Wide Open said every time he sees one of our videos, he thinks he's with Jeff Bridges or she. Sorry, I don't. That's awesome.
Especially now, I think he has a gray goatee and he's bald.
Wet and cold and rainy. Sorry to hear that. But thanks for joining us.
Yeah, John, that's probably a $12,000 cap. Unless, or that may be the deductible. I guess it depends. Yeah. So I don't know.
Fuzzy Cop. It's a little bunny. Muchas gracias. Love watching your videos for the past few years. Your channel has been very helpful. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, Don H says a degree lowers the visa income requirement without having to work. That is correct. You can work with a professional visa. You can work in Ecuador or online if you want to, but you don't have to. It's just a type of visa that requires a college degree. That was where your classes were at least 80% in person.
Yes.
Thanks, Fuzzy Cop. Fuzzy Cop.
Yes.
More like Fuzzy Rabbit.
Yeah.
If you change the way you look at things, do the things you look at change. That sounds like something a red pill would say. 30 red pills a day.
I must think about that. I like it. That's awesome.
Are the biggest retirement expenses housing, medical, taxes, and travel? Doing my live abroad now homework for EC. Awesome.
Housing.
I guess, are you talking about when you live in Ecuador? I would say the biggest expense in Ecuador is housing.
Yes.
Medical, do you think?
Well, health insurance is, then I would say food, honestly.
Yeah, food would be
Housing
the
and
second.
Food.
Yeah, medical is in Ecuador is so affordable. I think that falls after utilities for us.
Yeah.
Once you add in our internet, mobile phones, gas, water, electric, I would say that adds up to probably about what we spend on health insurance.
Probably because we still have our cell phone plans in the US, so we spend more money there. But I would have to say they're probably around the same.
Yeah.
But by far, housing is going to be your biggest expense, unless you have something like massive happen to you medically. But even then, things are so much more affordable here. We were just having a conversation with somebody that said that they talked to a friend who had some sort of did they have a heart attack? Remember, Susan and Rick were talking about that? And they said that their out of pocket was like $5,000 and they spent 4 days in the hospital.
Yeah, and they didn't have insurance. So it was that was their total cost, 4 days in the hospital and heart surgery.
Yes. And you are not allowed to carry guns in Ecuador.
No, they may be changing that law, but they have strict gun laws here. You can still own a gun. And if you, under certain circumstances, you can carry a gun, but it is not easy to get the license to do that. They actually make sure you're not insane before they give you a gun here. Yeah. You have to pass a psych eval and get background checks and references. It's a big process.
Yeah, it's quite the process.
Yeah. Let's see. If in Ecuador a temp visa is expiring, but you want a permanent visa, are you expected to leave to get a new criminal background check?
No, you do not have to leave, which is really nice. You can just have that ordered here. You can get your fingerprints done here in Ecuador, and then they send them to the States and do it all that way. So you do not have to leave. The nice thing too is that if you come here on a tourist visa and you want to go ahead and apply for a temporary residency visa, you do not have to leave the country and apply in your own country like you have to do in other parts of the world. You could do it all from Ecuador.
Yeah, that is the nice thing about Ecuador.
Yes.
How's the crime, gang violence, drug crime, State Department issue reconsider travel warnings? That's just for Esmeraldas and Guayaquil, I think. It's not for the whole country unless they've changed it. But I take the U.S. State Department travel guidelines or warnings with a grain of salt. They just really want everyone to stay home and spend their money in the United States and not have to rescue anyone.
But there are issues around the country, as JP mentioned, in certain areas around the port cities, that's where we've seen a much bigger increase in drug-related crime, unfortunately, which really sucks.
Thanks, Don. Appreciate it. When my son was getting heart surgery, I got a call from the hospital the day before saying I needed to bring $12,000. Oh,
wow. Oh my gosh. Geez, like you're not already stressed out enough. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Procedure was $70,000. I know, it's crazy.
Wow.
Crazy. And you're lucky you even knew what it was going to be, or maybe you didn't. Most of the time in the US, you don't even know what things are going to cost until after it's done.
I know.
Then you have the cost of another heart surgery from the heart attack that the bill gives you.
Yeah. Yeah. The nice thing about procedures here and in other parts of the world is that they will give you a quote up front so you know what you're looking at. The downside is that we have to pay for it up front and we get reimbursed. But again, it's so significantly less, about a tenth of the cost, that it's doable. We haven't gotten any horrible big surprises. But then again, we also haven't had a lot of health issues. Knock on something.
This is wood.
Is it wood? Okay.
Compressed wood.
Toca madera.
Oh, that's what they say here. Toca madera.
Touch wood. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm taking a water.
Greg says, I use the VA for my healthcare. Thankfully, it's the way I get by. I had a tumor removed for lung last year in VA hospitals there. Or any VA hospitals there.
There is a rumor that there is a VA hospital possibly, or like a medical clinic in the works for Cuenca, which is really exciting news for all of those people who would qualify. Mm-hmm. We haven't heard anything about that recently. I heard about that a couple months ago, but as soon as we get more information, of course, we will update all of you.
Yeah, it would just be a clinic, though. I doubt you would be able to get cancer treatment or surgeries there. But if they open that, then they might actually cover medical expenses at the other hospitals. Yeah,
which would be ideal.
And it would be, because it's probably a lot less than what they cost in the US. So it would make sense if the VA actually covered foreign travel or foreign medical expenses, because it's a lot less, a lot more affordable. Let's see. I had a similar experience. Oh, Austin, is the politics just as bad there as it is in the U.S. and what's required for you to vote there? You have to be a citizen to vote. Actually, no, you don't. You have to be living as a resident for 5 years, I think, to vote. Yeah. You can vote as a resident if you've been here 5 years. It's optional, but if you're a citizen, you have to vote unless you're under 18 or over 65. Then it's optional.
And they will charge you a fine if you don't vote, but I think it's small, like $30 or $40, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, and the politics here is, I wouldn't say it's as bad as the U.S., but it's not great.
No, it's politics.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We just stay out of it.
Yeah, I was much better set to retire earlier this year, but the market has hit 401ks hard. Yeah, grinding out 3 more years to collect my pension. How about out-of-pocket med expenses? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's a good question. So it's been our experiences, especially if you can go through your insurance company, that the prescription drugs are pretty affordable, but we don't really take anything. But the stuff that you had to take for certain procedures, well, I don't know, you've taken some stuff, and wasn't it like 35 cents or something ridiculous like that?
That was one pill.
Oh.
I had to take one. They actually prescribed like one pill if you need it for a prep for one of my procedures, and the pill was 35 cents. It's funny. It's like, it wasn't even worth doing.
I know, but you got that Nucleo, and that was what, $20 a month?
It was $15 a month.
$15 a month.
Well, but it's hard to know.
I know, it's
all over the place. I mean, basically we found that we think that prescription costs are about 1/10, about 10% compared to the US for the regular stuff.
Right.
Let's see. We just had our initial visit with a fantastic medical doctor, holistic bent. I gave her all our health info from the US. She spent 1.5 hours with us for $80. That's awesome.
Wonderful. That's awesome.
We've noticed that all of our doctors have a holistic angle. Mm-hmm. They're regular medical doctors, but they also prescribe like food, lifestyle, medicinal options to try and their first thing is not medicine or surgery,
Right.
Pharmaceuticals. I mean, they don't go that route first in Ecuador. They try less invasive and less costly approaches first, more natural things first. And then if that doesn't work, then they go for more of the traditional Western pharmaceuticals and surgeries.
Agreed. Which we really appreciate.
Have you seen any senior communities?
No, there's
What does that
actually,
mean?
I think you mean like assisted living or something like that. We've seen a few scattered throughout Ecuador, but those are not common like they are in the United States. What's common here is that people come to your home and provide in-home health care. Now, there are a lot of retirees here in Ecuador. So if you want to be around other seniors and do other senior-oriented activities, that is a big yes.
Yep. John says, I heard that, where did that go? I've heard that not all the drugs available in the US are available in Ecuador. That's true.
That
And
is
also
true.
vice versa. There are drugs available in Ecuador that are not available in the US.
Yes.
And a lot of times it's on the same active ingredient under a different brand name or a generic brand and you have, if you go in with your United States name brand medication to a pharmacy, they're just going to say, oh, we don't carry that. When really what they mean is we don't carry that brand, but they might have the same active ingredient sold under a different brand or company name. And you just have to know to ask what the questions, because they're not going to volunteer it. They'll be like, no, we don't have that one.
Which is a tough one. So that's when you really want to talk to your doctor.
Yeah.
So, hey, Harry, thank you so much.
Thanks, Harry. I'm looking for a small, non-fancy, cheap beach town with lots of palm trees like Mancora, Peru for retirement. And so does this exist anywhere in Ecuador?
Well, we lived in Olón, and it was definitely a small, non-fancy, cheap beach town. Ayange. There are a lot of places, although I don't know about the palm trees.
Canoa. Well, Olón had a lot of palm trees.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah, I would say Ayampe is another one, really good one. And Canoa.
Although we're not familiar with Mancora, Peru, so JP, we're going to have to look that up.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't know what that looks like, but I don't know. We loved living in Olón. It's got nice restaurants, good expat community.
But it's very small. Less than 2,000 people live there. Nice big beach. And there's a lot of little towns all up and down the coast.
That's correct, John. I got Nucleo here. It's available in every country except the United States, as far as I know. I'm not sure why it's not available in the US, but it did help me quite a bit.
It did.
Let's see. The VA does cover out of their hospital now, had cataract done locally last year, 50 miles from VA. Nice.
So that's good to know. So let's hope that things continue, that they progress with getting a VA facility here in Cuenca. That would be awesome.
Yep.
Are you staying caught up, JP?
I'm trying to.
Tricky.
Hola, Stephen Flores.
Hola.
I'm coming to see you. Maybe relocate. Cool.
That's exciting. We hope you do.
Let's see. Where do you live now? I'm confused. Mike in Montana. We are not saying where we live anymore. We had some scary issues with viewers. And so we're just sorry, guys, but we're just not putting it out there anymore for our own privacy and safety.
Yep.
So I know we used to film where we live, but we're not doing that anymore.
Nope.
The cost of health insurance in the U.S. is appalling. MDs are basically pill pushers with minimal regard for holistic options. They're not taught. They're not taught anything about diet or nutrition or alternative medicine in the U.S. because they're paid based on how many pills they sell and surgeries they have. It's just the way it is in the U.S. It's all about pharmaceuticals and surgeries. Cool. That's cool.
Well, are you going to say it out loud?
I caught a cold on my exploratory trip, and an Ecuadorian pharmacy gave me the most effective med I've ever had, stocked up. Awesome.
Awesome. But sorry to hear you got sick. But yeah, there's a lot of really good options here for medicine. And they have a lot of other supplements that are available. And there's a lot of medicinal plants that they talk about using here too. Yeah. Like we talk about using the Maité de coca to help with the elevation issues, but there's a lot of other things as well.
Are magic mushrooms legal in Ecuador? I don't know. Well, you can have ayahuasca and San Pedro are legal here.
Yeah. I don't know specifically about magic mushrooms.
I've never seen any.
No, but I wouldn't even know what they would look like. We haven't seen them in the grocery store.
We don't have a hookup for those.
No, sorry.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, click the thumbs up, guys.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
We
Thanks,
appreciate
Mark.
that.
Oh, and Leif, thank you. I know you threw that out there as well. We appreciate it.
Threw what out where?
Earlier he said to leave a thumbs up.
Yes. The thumbs up does help. It
does.
also tells, the big thing is it tells YouTube you like our stuff, because they just don't recommend your stuff if you don't engage. Like if you don't like, subscribe, and comment. It's more than subscribe. They used to show, if you were subscribed to a channel, they would show like all the videos that you were subscribed to. They don't do that anymore.
Yep, things change a lot.
Yep. So you have to engage with us if you want YouTube to recommend our stuff to you.
Fuzzy Cap, thank you for agreeing with us. You're right. And this is true for everybody. You need to be safe. You just don't know.
Yes.
Security is always a concern. It is very true.
Yeah, I think we were a little, I guess, naive and kind of, I guess, maybe in the beginning surprised that people watched our videos.
I think that may be the bigger thing.
I think that was probably the bigger thing. We're like, we just were recording these videos and posting them without even realizing that, it could be putting us in danger.
Yeah. And we were definitely naive.
Yeah.
I just didn't think people would honestly be that interested.
Yeah, I know. We're not that interesting.
I know.
We were told medical cannabis is legal in Ecuador. Is that accurate? It's easy to find CBD oil.
Yeah. I've read that it's legal, but there's nowhere that you can actually get it. So they may have made that legal somewhere along the way, but we've never seen it other than the CBD. Even the doctors talk about CBD oil.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like the stuff to smoke, like you can get that in Thailand and other countries. That's not the same here.
You can find it. But,
well, you can find it, but not legally.
Yeah. Well, it's legal to possess up to an ounce. It's illegal to sell it. So go figure that out. But they legalized medical marijuana in 2019, but they didn't set any regulations for selling it, or they didn't issue any licenses for selling it. So it's really been slow to catch on.
Right.
So, but the CBD is very, very widely available. You can find it all over the place. And I use CBD oil now to help when I have nerve pain or when I can't sleep.
Yes. As a matter of fact, that was also using CBD oil was also mentioned by one of JP's doctors.
Yeah. The oncologist recommended the CBG. Because you can get CBG and CBD oil here now, which we just started seeing the CBG, which is supposed to be really good for cancer treatment or cancer treatment, right?
Yes. Although, I don't think there's any medical studies about that. I don't know.
There's not a lot, unfortunately. Hope that there is more more studies are coming around.
Yes.
What do you pay a month for travel in your city?
So, well, we walk.
Yeah, we walk. We pay like $25 a month for the cabs.
Yeah.
I think I figured out because we normally walk to Super Maxi or Mega Maxi and then we cab home with the groceries.
That's probably even more than,
because
a cab ride is like $2 and we maybe take a cab once a week.
Yeah.
I think you were factoring in if we went out and did some other stuff, but we try to walk. If we want to go to the airport, or go to another city, that's going to be more expensive. But our stuff is cheap because we don't have to pay gas. Love it.
Yep. There are a few other cities now that treat their water. In fact, I think I read that 500,000 people in Guayaquil have chlorinated water, treated water now. And there's parts of Quito that have chlorinated water, and Loja. So it's more than just Cuenca now.
Well, yeah. We heard that about Loja after we left, and I don't know if I would have still been gutsy enough to try it because the last thing I want to do is get sick while I'm traveling.
And also, we stayed in El Centro in an old building, and
Right.
I would be a little hesitant to do it in El Centro just because of the pipes. The water may be treated, but the pipes may be lead or contaminated or not sealed. In newer areas, like where we've lived, the water pipes have been replaced and it's chlorinated.
Right.
So
Very true.
let's see. We recently spent 16 days in Cuenca and didn't have any health issues with water, food. Awesome trip. Awesome. That's great.
That is great. Yeah, we didn't have any issues with drinking the water in Cuenca either.
Yes, we don't follow a lot of people for the nutrition anymore, but Gregor's still on our list.
Yes, he is. He has some really good recipes too.
Yeah, we do. We cook a lot of his how not to diet recipes. They're delicious.
Yeah. So Jofani, thank you so much for sharing your expenses yet again. She said they take taxis 3 to 4 times a week and estimate their monthly transportation cost to be $100 a month. And yes, that is substantially less than paying for a car, especially when you factor in, like I mentioned, gas, but you also have to have insurance and there's maintenance and all that other stuff. And the stress of driving, which I don't want to do.
Terry. Hola, Terry.
Hey, Terry. Thanks for joining us.
So she said that you can buy it at Cawasa in Plaza del Sol in Manta and at Templo del Sol in Quito.
Oh, yeah. Terry, you were telling me about that Templo del Sol. We need to check that out, JP.
Yeah.
It looks really cool.
Sorry, my back's
hurting.
Did
you mean that to be so audible?
An hour sitting here. You got to move around. Let's see. Where would you say the most single expats live and congregate? I do not speak Spanish and would have to have some English-speaking interaction. I spent 10 days in Panama, only concern.
I would still say Cuenca, although we met a lot of single people in Bocabamba when we were there too.
And Cotacachi.
Yeah.
Is that it? There actually, you'll find expat communities everywhere. There's a lot of English speakers in Olón and Manta.
But Annie, she said specifically single expats. So we've met the most single expats in Cuenca.
Yes. How much would a single guy living in Ecuador need to budget? It depends on how nicely you want to live. You could live frugally here as a single on under 1,000 easily. Mm-hmm. I would say 1,500 would be very comfortable for a single.
Agreed.
Yeah, somebody said they saw Datsun mini trucks. Hadn't seen one in years. I know this. We have Russian, Chinese cars, India.
Yeah, cars that we'd never heard of.
Mahindras. There's Mahindras here. Lots of Chinese cars.
Is there a reason that nobody talks about the neighborhoods between El Vergel and Avenida de las Americas? What neighborhoods are between those? I mean, we talk about... Are you talking
about like Tres Puentes or
Don Bosco? Well, that's what I was just about to say, Tres Puentes. I don't know. I need to think where...
It'd be Don Bosco. Remember the totem poles? What's that neighborhood? Remigio Crespo?
Yeah.
Those are nice areas
too. They are nice areas.
All the way over, that whole south side of the river is really nice.
We like Tres Puentes a lot. It's really pretty there.
Yep. Yeah, great graphics nut. We were just talking about CBD oil, and I do have it and take it regularly.
It
does help. It helps with the back pain and nerve pain. More importantly, it helps with my nerve issues. Let's see. I just looked at Canoa on Google Street View, and wow, I like what I saw. Quaint with palm trees. Awesome. Yeah, I've seen some videos from Canoa and heard great things about it. We never made it up there, unfortunately. Mm-mm. Maybe one of these days we'll get out to Bahia and Canoa. Yeah,
Bahia is supposed to be absolutely beautiful, so that might be another place you want to look at. Bahia. I can't talk now.
Bahia
de, what is it?
Caracas.
Thank you. Getting all my tongue-tied, my words twisted. I guess it's your back and my mouth are both giving out.
Yeah. What's the visa situation in Ecuador? How long can an American stay without a lot of hassle? Well, you can come on the 90-day tourist visa, and you can get a 90-day extension to that for $145. And if you want to go temporary visa route, there's a lot of them depends on your situation.
Yep, it's actually pretty hassle-free as far as we're concerned.
It is. It's actually one of the easiest countries in the world to get visas, especially residency visas.
Agreed.
I don't know. You think we got to wrap it up, Amelia?
Probably, since you're hurting and I apparently have stopped being able to talk properly.
Amelia often forgets her mouth words. She gets them all mixed up with Spanish.
Oh my gosh, I do. It's pretty bad sometimes.
I know. It is so funny. The Spanglish is constant.
Yes, and it happens the other way. We talk to our Ecuadorian friends, and they do the same thing. Only they call it Spanglish, not Spanglish.
Yeah, Spanglish. Spanglish.
Yes.
It is funny.
Wow. So Golan Heights said that they traveled with Ecuador with their dad, and that they didn't even stamp his passport. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
That sounds about right.
yeah, they're pretty casual here. Hey, Leif, thank you so much.
Thanks, Leif.
I always appreciate you joining us, and we really appreciate your support.
Yeah. How's Pululagua? Haven't had a status update on Pululagua in a while.
We need an update.
Oh, my dog's 12 and a half. She will live her life first. Yeah.
It's hard when you have an old fur baby.
Cotacachi versus Loja.
Cotacachi has more English speakers. So
more expat friendly.
Yes. Loja is definitely going to be more of an authentic experience.
Yeah, if you want to live like a local Loja, if you want to live more expat oriented housing and services, coffee shops, that kind of stuff. Although they have really good coffee shops in Loja too.
Yeah, they have a lot to offer in Loja. It's actually quite beautiful. We really enjoyed our time there a lot. But if you're learning Spanish, it could be frustrating. However, it could also be an incredible experience because you might find yourself more immersed than you would be in Cotacachi. Yeah, Cotacachi is a small town of about 9,000 people, and Loja is about 250,000, I think. 250,000 or 300,000 people. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's quite a bit bigger. It's a bigger city. So, I mean, that's another thing to consider. Right. But there's also better healthcare in Loja than there is in Cotacachi. Really, you want to go to Quito probably if you're in. Absolutely. So, all right, guys, I think we're ready. Can we wrap it up? Yes, I know your back's hurting. Yes. We've been recording videos today too. So I've been sitting in this chair a lot today. Yes. JP needs to get up and stretch, and so do I. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for attending our live stream. We hope you can join us on Thursday for our video. We're going to do another premiere, which means that we'll be live chatting. I don't think a lot of people understand what the premieres are, but we basically show up and we'll live chat with you guys before, during, and after the video. So we won't be live on video, but we can talk about the video as it's playing, and it's like a watch party. Yeah, it's fun. So hopefully you can join us, and thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. Awesome, guys. Thank you. Ciao. Ciao. Well, we were